Hello, everyone. We're here in Hacking Education, the podcast to hack the educational system around the world. We are here with my friend David Sederberg, one of the founders of this incredible initiative to share experiment and experiences, learning experiences in astrophysics and astronomy and physics. Not only virtually, but some kind of experience presentially. And I've been enjoying a lot to share with him the passion for the education and the transformation and the different approaches to share inspiration in science. So, David, thank you very much for being here, my friend.
Thank you for the invitation and for the nice introduction. It's nice to be here.
Yeah.
So, shall I go back to maybe our first meeting?
Yeah, please.
When I received a call from
Medellin, Colombia.
from someone here at Purdue, Carol Handwerker.
Carol Handwerker.
And
hey, hello, Carol.
Okay. And Carol was planning to come to Medellin to work with Project Interchange for developing an after-school program for nanoscience. And I had done my PhD research in nanoscience education. And so Carol asked me if I would like to participate. And I said, well, of course, who would not like to go to Colombia? And so that was my first trip. And that was the opportunity I had to meet you and the faculty from UPB and to begin a long-time relationship that has been successful in many ways.
Thank you. Yeah, totally. We have been sharing this passion for this STEM education. And when in my second time with you talking about this new initiative, SMAP, I realized the importance of the connection with the students and the hands-on activities you're doing here locally. But we opened the opportunity to create more international this experience. So could you give us a bit more about this initiative? This name is SMAP, Saturday Morning Astrophysics at Purdue. Could you?
Sure. So Saturday Morning Astrophysics at Purdue, and as you say, as we affectionately call it, SMAP. And that makes us all SMAPsters.
SMAPsters, nice.
That started about 7 or 8 years ago with the idea from one of our postdocs at Purdue in the Department of Physics and Astronomy. And he came to me and said, you do, so my position at Purdue is the Outreach Coordinator for the Department of Physics and Astronomy. So I do programs. I create programs for middle school, high school students, teachers, teacher training, faculty support. And so I was confronted with the idea of creating a program for middle and high school kids to learn about concepts in astronomy and astrophysics. And so I said, sure, let's develop this. And so we got to start back in about 2015 or 2016 and ran the program for the spring semester, had about 25 or 30 students enrolled. They came to Purdue's campus once a month. This is a monthly program to do a lesson, an experiment, collect some data.
During the whole day?
It was a morning session.
Morning session.
Saturday morning.
Morning, yeah.
Astrophysics.
Sorry.
It's not Saturday all day.
Okay.
And so that was our first time. And so we continued the next year. Enrollment doubled. And we continued doing monthly on-site, on-campus programs for middle and high school kids. Then the pandemic hit in 2019, and that's changed everything.
Yeah.
Because now we could no longer do on-campus programs. And so I was confronted with the challenge of trying to continue to do SMAP remotely.
Yeah.
And so that posed the challenge of how do we do some of the hands-on experiments remotely? And so we put our thinking hats on and came up with some ideas and did the first that first year SMAP remote. We had students from primarily around the local area.
Here in Indiana? Or
Indiana.
Was Lafayette?
Lafayette, West Lafayette, northern and southern Indiana.
Okay.
They were still a fairly representative local community.
Mm-hmm.
As the reputation for SMAP grew and my ability to promote it increased, we began to get students from around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had students from Texas, California, New York,
Yeah.
Florida, and it became more of a national program.
Right now, it's a national program.
At that point, yeah, it was a national program because I had students from so many different locations around the
Yeah.
country.
Totally. I encourage the audience to check in YouTube your videos. I enjoy a lot your videos. I remember this Eratosthenes experiment.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So the Eratosthenes experiment is one that we developed for students to do remotely, where they could actually collect data and analyze the data and create and calculate the circumference of the Earth.
It's incredible.
So
Just with the sunlight and
with
some
a vertical stick,
vertical
the
stick.
sun, a shadow, and a measuring tape, yes.
And the knowledge, obviously.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
the knowledge.
The knowledge.
Experiment first done in 245 BC.
Ah.
So it's a historic experiment. We had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we developed other things that the students could do remotely. And then the YouTube channel came along. We decided, why not share what we're doing with not only the students in the program, but educators, teachers around the country who might want to know about our experiments and be able to do them in their own classroom. So we created the YouTube channel and make everything available to anybody anywhere in the world that wants to use our materials. So we hope we have some engaging content and in the way of video, as well as some lessons that the teachers can use themselves.
Okay. That's nice. I really encourage you to visit the SMAP challenge, the Saturday Morning Astrophysics at Purdue channel in YouTube. Please, David, tell us a bit more about the camps, because we are talking about the national program, but right now you have an international program. SMAP started with 25 students, local here in this area in Indiana, but right now it's an international program.
Yes, it is, and I can thank you for helping make that happen. It was during the pandemic, or shortly after, that I thought about this program and wanting to make it a little more international. And I recalled our connection with the schools in Medellin.
Yeah.
And I thought, gee, why not email you and see if this is something that that we could maybe use, invite some students from Medellin. Yeah. And so you responded to my email right away and very enthusiastically. and that was the beginning of a new adventure.
Totally.
So you helped me extend the invitation to students at San Jose.
Pinares, I remember.
Pinares.
3 schools. Yeah.
And we immediately had about a dozen or 15 students from Medellin enroll in the program.
Yep.
And I am happy to say that some of those students are still there. And
Still
so
there.
we've added more, and some have graduated and moved on, and we've replaced them with some new students. So in our session just yesterday, we had probably 4 or 5 students from Medellin.
From Medellin.
So that's given us an altogether new adventure. The next part of that chapter, though, is our invitation to come to Medellin to do SMAP on location.
And location in site. There in Medellin, Colombia.
Yeah, we call this AstroCamp 2023.
Yeah, that was the next stage of this adventure.
So with our invitation, I brought 3 students from Purdue, a graduate student and 2 undergrads. We collectively created a whole series of lessons and experiments to engage the students in Medellin in the SMAP program, learning about astronomy and astrophysics. I think the experience, well, we had, as a result, about 35 students.
35 students. That was a really interesting camp because not only the topic astrophysics and physics, but also it was in English, totally in English, with more than 5 schools, not just San Jose, Las Vegas, but also we had students from different Pinares, Columbus School, different schools there. And so you spend 4 days and nights there in. You remember the village? This the kind of place, really kind of rural, but also colonial architecture there in Medellin. You remember that?
Oh, I remember that well. It was. I felt like I was in a whole nother world.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was
The history behind that facility.
totally.
It was amazing. The climate, the food.
Hmm.
The food was perfect. So
Enjoy.
when we started the Astro Camp,
Yeah.
I remember distinctly the kids, the students attending, got off the bus and checked in, and it was a little bit chaotic, and they all got settled in, and then we started our first session, and it was an emotional experience for us to be able to think about these students from another culture, another language, communicating in our language. So it was an opportunity for them not only to learn about science, but to practice their English.
Totally.
And they were fascinated to meet the Americans, my American students, presenting the materials.
Yeah.
So it was emotional for us. I think a couple of us cried at the beginning, and after a week, the students cried at the end.
At the end,
because
exactly.
They
I
didn't want
remember.
to see us go.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Could you share with us maybe one of the experiments or the hands-on activities you did that in that time? Because for sure the community, the hiking education community, are thinking, what kind of things are they are doing in an astro camp? What kind of things?
Sure, I can tell you a couple of examples. So number one, I had a student, Mariana Aguilar, who created a lesson in which students used a sonar device to map the surface of a imaginary planetary terrain.
Okay.
So the students created their own terrain and then used this device to scan it, take their data, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and create a 3D model of the planetary terrain that they created.
Imaginary planet.
Imaginary planet.
Okay.
And so the students, the students from participating in the program went absolutely crazy. They brought in things from outside. They took some cardboard boxes and cut them up into different shapes. They had traffic cones. They even put themselves down on the surface and scanned each other as part of their surface. Yeah. They had a lot of fun doing that. Probably our favorite experiment.
No.
We also did an experiment with a light bulb, a light measuring device, and a small sphere, just a small ball that was an exoplanet. So it was an experiment where they could revolve the little metal ball around the light bulb, measure the change in light to learn about how scientists discover exoplanets. So it was those are two examples of 8 or 9 wonderful experiments. We did an explosion experiment to model supernovae.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
Totally. I was thinking, okay, we have this part of the story, the past and the present. So from local Saturday morning activities here in Purdue with the local schools to national to international. What is the next stage of SMAP? What are you dreaming with this?
Well, I have a couple of dreams, one of which is going to become a reality later this fall. First of all, I think I would like to increase the international exposure. So in addition to the students we currently have from the U.S. and from Colombia, I have students just this year from Pakistan.
Wow.
And I've had students from a couple of the Eastern Asian countries. I've had a student from Korea. The problem with international students is the time difference.
The time difference.
We do SMAP at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Now, in Colombia, that's no problem. We're on the same time most of the year. In Pakistan, it's not a problem because 11 o'clock in the morning is 8 o'clock in the evening. So those students are fine with time. Korea is a little more of a problem. So I've had students from Honduras, Puerto Rico,
Wow.
and again, those time differences are not substantial. So I'd like to expand our international reach. That would be good. That would be good for SMAP. It's good for Purdue Physics and Astronomy, and it's good for Purdue, and it's good for the students who participate.
For sure.
The part of the future that's becoming reality is AstroCamp 2024. We're going to come to Medellin again to do our second AstroCamp.
Yes.
And I've talked to a couple of the students who are currently in SMAP as of yesterday, are going to participate again for the second time. And they're undoubtedly very excited to be able to see us again. So we're looking forward. I have 3 grad students I'm bringing with me this time. Right. And we're gearing up now.
Different students or the same?
2 of them actually will be the same students. So Mariana will be the same.
Great.
And Danielle will come again as well.
Amazing.
And I've added a new student, Jonathan.
Okay. Great. So I will see you there in Medellin again?
Yes, you will.
Please give me the date.
If you are there, we'll be there.
I will be there.
Okay. I can't recall the date exactly. It's our fall break. It'll be early October.
Early October. Perfect. So maybe we will have another episode of this Hacking Education there in Medellin with you and your team.
I would love that. Yep, let's plan on it.
Let's plan. Okay, guys, thank you very much for seeing this, watching you, and hearing this inspirational story about SMAP, Saturday Morning Astrophysics at Purdue University with David Sederberg. My friend, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful pleasure.